Hello and welcome to a Gina K Designs special presentation. This is the Christmas Cards and Crafts series of 2020. These videos will share paper crafting, tutorials, and inspiration with all of you. I hope that you enjoy. Hello everyone. I miss you. That's where I'll start for today's video. I miss everyone. I miss creating YouTube videos. I've had some issues recently with my camera setup, and I've recorded multiple craft sessions that have files have gone corrupt, and it has broken my heart, and I've been devastated. And I am also I guess I'm going through some stuff like everybody else. I've started a new job recently that demands a lot of my time, and it has made it very difficult for me to feel inspired even to come on and make some videos. So that being said, I've tried multiple times to come and make videos in my craft space, and as I mentioned, the files got corrupt or one thing or another. I never finished the project, and so on and so on. I mean, the list goes on. So today, it is very early in the morning. Everyone in my house is sleeping. It is a Saturday. My Christmas tree is up. It's quiet, and I have some ideas, and I'm using my cell phone to record. So please let me know in the comments below if this is a decent recording or not. I hope that it is. I'm recording it sort of rather than voicing over my videos for today. I'm recording it like this so that I can get this video up to YouTube faster because it's been a few weeks. So grab a cup of tea or a glass of water, glass of wine, whatever it is that you want to do, glass of milk and cookies, and let's get started for today's project. So I'm going to have a sip of my tea and get started. First of all, I'm going to start with this stencil. I have tried to record multiple attempts at making projects with this stencil. I think it's gorgeous. It's so beautiful and delicate, and it's it almost looks like a really fanciful snowflake. This is from Paper Rose. This stencil was sent to me from Glitter and Ink, a craft store in Belleville, Ontario, that I've showcased many of the products from their store in previous videos. And I've got some great ideas for Christmas tags with this stencil. So let's get started. So first of all, I got the stencil. It's got some pixie spray on the back already. This is pixie spray, in case you've never seen this before. This is a low-tack adhesive that's repositionable. So you can spray it on the back of your stencils to make sure all of the delicate lines get tacked down, so that when you're putting your pastes or your ink or anything, the little delicate lines don't lift up. So it's a great tool to have when using delicate stencils like this one. So for today's projects, I'm going to use Bristol Smooth cardstock. Now, I have some cut up. I buy Bristol Smooth in a very large package. Actually, I'll grab that in just a second. Okay, this is what I buy. I buy Bristol Smooth cardstock, and it is 11 by 17 inches. And then I cut it down and put it in these little packages. And this cardstock is absolutely amazing for ink blending. So that's what we're going to use today. So starting with my stencil, I'm going to position it on my cardstock. My stencil is, it's seen its day already. So I'm going to stick that down, pressing it in. My pixie spray is a little not so sticky anymore. this is what I use. I use a cardboard box, actually, when I get my Simon Says stamped card kits in. So I stick my stencil in there, and then I just lightly spray over top with my pixie spray. I'm not going to spray this anywhere near my phone. I'll take it off to the side, and I will spray a light dusting of that pixie spray over top of my stencil, and just give it a few seconds to sort of set. Not dry, but just set. Okay, so while that's setting, I'm going to be using 3 colors of Gina K Designs ink. I'm going to create a gradient background, and I really love this color combination for like a Christmas night sky. So I've got Gina K powder blue in the navy and black onyx. So I'm going to also grab a silicone baking mat. This is just a regular old baking mat that I picked up from Canadian Tire for like $2 or something. You can go to any dollar store, anything, and grab a baking mat, and this is perfect for ink blending because it kind of holds your paper in place while you're inking over top of it, and it also the ink just sits on top and doesn't dry on it, so that's great. So I'm going to use that, and I'm going to grab a couple of blending brushes. I have just a variety of brushes, all different sorts of brands and things, so that's what I'm going to be using. I think, yeah, okay. So, and I've also got a microfiber cloth so I can wipe off my brushes when I'm done, which I'm really bad at doing because I don't often actually wipe them off. And yeah, see, look at, there's all this ink all over it from the last time I used it. Anyways, let's move along. Let's grab our stencil. It should be ready to go. I'm going to position it where I want it on my cardstock. And again, I'm using Bristol Smooth cardstock here. So now that our stencil is nice and tacked down, I'm happy with that. I want to start with my powder blue ink, and I'll take my blender brush and I'll ink it up with my powder blue ink, and in a circular motion I'm going to apply that ink to the stencil. So I want to make sure I get nice coverage, and powder blue usually isn't this dark. It looks like I have a little bit of leftover something on there, so that's all right. It's still pretty. Okay, so that's enough powder blue. And now I'm going to move into In the Navy, and I'll ink up my brush, and for this one I'll start off the side on the silicone mat and apply the ink because I don't want it to be too heavy yet. I want to sort of lightly blend into my powder blue, and then I want to gradually intensify the ink towards the top. I've got it sideways, but this is going to, the left side will be the top. So I'm going to intensify that In the Navy ink up here, and I'll go all the way to the edge, and then once I'm happy with the blend, I'm going to come back in with the Onyx Black ink to really darken up the top of that sky there. Or not sky, really darken up the top part of that stencil. Okay, so now I'm going to grab my In the Navy ink, and I'm going to, I'm sorry, not In the Navy, Onyx Black ink, and I'm going to apply this nice and dark just towards the top sort of part of the stencil. And I really want to get some dark coverage there. This looks like sort of a hot mess for now, but once we pull this off and take a look at it, oh man, it's going to be gorgeous. So I'm just sort of going in a sort of rounded pattern here, like sort of like a shape of a C. And then I'll go back and blend my 2 colors together. And because we're using Bristol Smooth cardstock, the ink sort of sits on top a little bit, and we're going to use that to our advantage in a minute. So the ink sits on top and it gives you a chance to sort of move it around because it has like this sort of coating over top of the paper. Okay, so I'm happy with the blend, I think. Now it's time to peel up our stencil and have a look and see what we've created. Are you ready? Oh, wow. Isn't that beautiful? That's gorgeous. I really like that look. Okay, so let's just move this off to the side. Now, stencils are great for all different types of medium, not just ink. Stencils are great for gels and pastes and things like that. This is the Gina K Designs and Thermal Web Glitz Glitter Gel, and I have a disgusting collection of these Glitz Glitter Gels. Here's a couple of them, and basically it's just like seriously intensified glitter. It's got a little clear gel mixed in with it, but it is just glitter, and it doesn't rub off when it dries or anything like that. It's amazing. It's a lovely product. So you can use that with your stencils too, and apply it with a palette knife and spread it over top of your stencil, and you will get amazing glittery sparkly designs. The camera is just freaking out, like it can't even catch all that. Like, in person, these are like, oh my goodness, so sparkly. It's unreal. This one is a gorgeous color. So this is the Gina K Designs Turquoise Sea Glitz Glitter Gel. This one is the Brilliant Blue Glitz Brilliant Blue Glitz Glitter Gel. And then this one is the Silver. So these are the, some of the things that I had made previously, and my camera just freaked out and deleted all my footage. So maybe we'll do something with that as well. But in the meantime, I'm hoping that me talking didn't ruin my plan. Okay, so what I thought was, because we use Bristol Smooth cardstock, that I'd be able to apply embossing powder over top of this piece of cardstock, and it would stick to it. So I'm going to test it out and see if that's going to work. I'm not sure. We'll see. So I have this embossing powder from Ranger. This is called Frosted Crystal. If I could get it open. Oh man, that's on there tight. Okay. Now let's see if we can get this to stick. Oh yeah. Okay, great. All right, so the plan was to be able to use Bristol Smooth cardstock, and because the ink will take time to dry on the paper, we could use the embossing powder to glitify our stencil. So, and that worked. So far, so good. Okay. So I'm just covering this panel and letting the excess fall into a coffee filter that I will funnel back into my jar to the best of my ability. I usually lose a whole bunch of it all over the place. Oh, that was a close one. Okay. Oh my goodness, this is so technical. This is like a high-tech job here. Okay. Not too bad. So I'm just gonna throw the excess embossing powder at myself and all over my clothes, because it wouldn't be a craft session if you didn't get glitter, ink, and embossing powder all over your clothes or your hands. Ah, no. Sometimes I'm very klutzy. I try not to be. When I'm trying not to be klutzy, I end up even more klutzy, if that makes sense. I'm not a very smooth operator. That's for the magic of video editing. I can cut out a lot of my own mistakes so that you can't see how messed up I am sometimes. So I have a heat gun here. I'm going to turn it on, let it warm up for a sec, and then heat emboss my panel. Okay, so this embossing powder is very subtle, but it did exactly what I wanted it to do. It creates like a glittery, frosty sort of look. I don't know if I can catch it with the camera. It's really cool. And it gives it that like almost flocked feeling, if you will. And it's sort of frosty, exactly what it's called. It's frosty. It's really beautiful. The camera won't show it to you, but it's really cool. So again, that embossing powder is the Frosted Crystal. It's an Antiques embossing powder from Ranger, and this was something that was on sale from Simon Says Stamp a couple of weeks ago for 99 cents. That's pretty awesome. For 99 cents, I couldn't pass it up, and I never used it before, but I thought, well, for 99 cents, I'm going to find out. And I love it. It's really beautiful. Okay, so moving along, here is my beautiful ink blended panel. Obviously, you can see that. I need a sip of my tea. All right, our panel's complete. We're going to set that aside for a minute, and I'm going to pull in some sentiments. This is the Gina K Designs. Actually, this is a Misti. The sentiments I have already loaded up inside of my Misti are the Gina K Designs Seasonal Greeting Stamp Set. This is one of my all-time favorite Christmas stamp sets because look how versatile that is. That font and those sayings will go with anything. They'll go with Christmas cards, with tags, with scrapbooks, everything. It just is so versatile. And I also like how they're very symmetrical. You can put them in your Misti and create a ton of sentiment strips very quickly. So again, that's the Gina K Designs Seasonal Greeting Stamp Set. I'll have everything linked in the description down below in case you're interested in purchasing any of these things that I use in my video today. So let's set that aside. Now I'm going to show you how I create a bunch of sentiments. Obviously you can tell I've got them all loaded up onto the Misti. Now I've got a half sheet of Gina K Onyx Black Cardstock, and I'll just pop that into my Misti into the top right corner. And then I've also got an embossing magic bag, and I'm going to pat that very generously all over my entire cardstock because I'm going to stamp this sentiment multiple times. I'm going to stamp these sentiments multiple times. Okay, I want to make sure that I don't have any excess floating around on there. And then I've got Versamark ink. This is a watermark ink pad. And I'm going to ink up my sentiments nice and good on the door of my Misti. And I'm going to stamp these a couple of times. So I want to make sure that my cardstock is butted up into the corner of my Misti nice and tight. Okay, and then I've also got this handmade little tool that my mother and I made. It has a furniture protector pad on the bottom and an old door handle. And I just used crystal glaze, actually. Crystal glaze or glossy accents, something along those lines, and I just filled it in, and this is amazing. So what this does is it allows me to slide across the door of my Misti, applying pressure over top of my stamps and getting a nice transfer of ink. I really like that because sometimes when you're pushing on the door, like, I don't know, you put too much pressure in one spot and not enough in another, and your hand maybe sticks to the door. So that's what I like about this. It's really cool. So I'm going to open the door of the Misti and see that I need to apply some more pressure. I didn't get all my sentiments. Okay. Okay, and I'm going to ink it up a second time. I like when the embossing is filled in nicely and everything is stamped nice. So a second round of this won't hurt. good. All right, and then I'm going to take my piece of cardstock and I'm going to flip it around. I'm going to pop it into the corner again, making sure it's in the top right hand corner. And I'm going to do this all over again. I'm going to ink it up. And again, I'll do this twice because I want to make sure that I get a nice transfer of Versamark ink. I don't know about you guys, but I love making cards, and I have been struggling so much this year just with time and inspiration and things like that. It's really taken a toll on my crafting and my cards. And that kind of makes me sad because I love to make cards. All right, so this is all stamped and ready to go. I got a coffee filter here, and I'm going to use some ultra fine embossing powder. This is the Brutus Monroe Alabaster. This is the most finest detail embossing powder ever. Like, you can see how like delicate it is. A lot of times if you're buying embossing powder, if you want to know how fine the grits are, you can just kind of look at the side of the bottle, and if it looks like dust, then you know how super duper fine it is. So here's another embossing powder, so you can kind of see it's not like, it's a fine detail, this one, but it's not like dusty like this one, if you can see the difference. I don't know. Anyway, if you're looking for a super duper fine detail embossing powder, Brutus Monroe Alabaster White is the best that I've ever used. And I've used a lot of embossing powders. Alright, so I'm going to sprinkle my embossing powder over the top of my sentiments. And I'll just let that fall and catch into my coffee filter. And I missed a little bit there. I'm not going to stress too much about it being to perfection because, you know, it's handmade. It's not perfect. And if anybody was to ever complain about my flecks of excess embossing powder, then I'd never make them a handmade card ever again. So, you better like my flecks of powder. Well, that's the best I can get. For the most part, it's pretty good. There's a few spare bits on there, but I'm not going to worry about it. It'll be like extra snow on my card. Alright, so now I'm going to heat set this with my heat tool until all of my sentiments are smooth and melted. Okay. So those are all done. So now, this is how I work this. I'm just going to get my paper trimmer. I have the Tim Holtz Tonic Studios paper trimmer. If you're looking for a paper trimmer, go with the Tonic Studios. I've went through a lot of paper trimmers in my day, and now that I've had this one and the larger one, I'll grab that. This one. So this trimmer and this trimmer, I haven't had to buy any more trimmers, but yeah. So if you're ever going to invest in a paper trimmer, just go with the good one, just to start with. Save your money. Okay, so this is what I do. I take my sentiment strips and then I line them up into using the guide on the paper trimmer, and I use this little plastic guide and I line it up with the top of those letters. You'll see right where it lands underneath the line. Okay, and then I slice. Then I just move it to the next one and slice. And we'll come back and finish them at the end. But I just like to get them all cut out first, sliding my words all the way to the plastic edge of the cutting guide. Okay, so once those are all cut out, then we'll take them and spin them back around and do the same thing. We're going to line up the top of those words with the trimmer, and then here you have a beautiful, perfectly cut sentiment strip. Isn't that beautiful? I love that. So we'll do that for all of them. So you'll take your sentiment strips, pick them up, and find out wherever they fit on the guide, whether it's the top or the bottom that needs to be trimmed off. And then you'll end up with a stack of sentiments. Now, if you don't have this Gina K design set, you don't need it. You could do this with any of your sentiments. You could go through all of your stamps, 20 different stamp sets if you wanted, and find similar style straight sentences like these, and load them all up onto the door of your Misti and just go to town. It doesn't have to be from the same stamp set. You can use different stamp sets to create your holiday cards. So there are also going to be some strips left over. Don't throw these away. I'm going to show you what to do with these in a few minutes. So I don't like to cut off the ends until I'm ready to kind of use them on my cards, and I'll figure out where they want to go. So now I've got a stack of sentiment strips ready to go, and they're all perfectly aligned. They're all the same size without using a ruler or anything. These are gorgeous. I love that little technique. Okay, so I'm going to set those aside. Okay, so before we move on to finishing our project, these little strips would most likely be garbage for the most part, but I have some ideas to not waste them. So let's start with the thin one. So if you want to create a space on your card for like a grounding element, for like a snowman to sit on or something, like that would be a perfect ground, you know, or a spot where if you want to create a design, you can put your card or your sentiment, and then you can put your little strip to create like a focal design to draw your eye into the sentiment. So that's kind of neat. That's one way to use those little strips. Another way is to ink them with Versamark and turn them into like a foil strip. So what I'll do is I'll grab a Versamark ink pad. I'm going to grab my silicone baking mat for this, so I don't want to get Versamark on my cutting mat. I'm not going to show you all of these, I'll just show you one. So I will take my cardstock and ink it up with Versamark ink. Okay. And then, there we go. I want some silver embossing powder. I've got Gina K Designs Fine Detail Silver. And I'm going to sprinkle my embossing powder over top of that strip. There we go. I don't know why I closed it, but whatever. Here we go. So there's my strip. And I'll put everything back in. So I'm going to heat set my strip. Now, you can use tweezers to hold it, or you can use the baking mat. The baking mat is designed to withstand heat because obviously it's for baking. So it can withstand my heat tool. So I'm going to heat this up. Okay. Didn't even warm the surface of my cutting mat, so that's cool. All right, so here we go. Here we have a silver embossed shiny strip, and you can use that on your card for designs. You could even do them multiple times and lay them across your card. I mean, there's so much you could do with them, so don't throw them away. Another way to use them is to turn them into foam squares. So here I have a thicker piece, and what I like to do is create my own little dimensional. So I just cut them. I don't make them perfect or all the same size. I just cut. Whatever happens, happens. And then I take a little bit of liquid adhesive, and I put a drop and then I stack a piece on top. I put a drop and I stack a piece on top. So depending on how thick you want your dimensional or your foam square to be, I'll make this 4 foam squares thick, and then, or 4 pieces of cardstock thick. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So once the glue's on, I can wiggle them around and get them to line up so that they're pretty much the same, you know, like a square. And then if they're a little bit too wide or not straight, you can always trim them to make them suit your needs. There we go. So now you have foam squares without wasting your cardstock. Okay, so that's just a few ideas that how I like to stretch my supplies. So we'll save these because I'm probably going to use them. So now let's go back to our panel. Now I need my trimmer again. What did I do with it? Here we go. So this panel measures 5.5. So which means that if I want to cut this in half to create 2 tags, I need to cut this by 2 3/4. So 2 3/4 is half. Right smack in the middle. Beautiful. So now I'm going to get 2 tags out of this. Okay. So far this is just a rectangle piece of cardstock. So what I like to do is take the 2 pieces, put them on top of each other. Okay, and I'm going to cut an angle into one side. And then I'm going to take the 2 pieces, I'm going to flip one on top of the other. Okay, so what this is doing is creating you a bit of a guide so that your tags are going to match up. So we're just going to cut along that line, flip it over, and cut along our guide. And then you're going to have 2 perfectly even tags. That's super cute. Okay. Also, they don't look at tags yet until we punch a hole. I will use my crocodile here and punch a hole into my tag. Okay. All right. So far, so good. Looks great. Next, we are going to take some of our sentiments and figure out how I want to lay them out on my card. Do I want to cut them apart? Do I want to lay them sideways? Yeah, I think we're going to go like that. I like that. Okay, and I'll just add some adhesive and lay down my sentiment. That looks great. And I'll just cut off the excess. Beautiful. Merry Christmas. Isn't that cute? That is gorgeous. Okay. One more. Let's do Wishing You Joy. That's such a lovely, lovely thought. This is crooked. Oh man. Oh no. Whew. Is it still crooked? Oh my goodness. It is. What am I going to do with my life? Okay. Oof. That's good. Saved. All right. Line this one up, and this time I'll use the grid mat on the grid lines on my cutting mat to make sure that we're straight. Much better. All right, flip it over, cut off the excess. Okay, beautiful. Here we go. So now I think I'll probably end up doing the same thing with these glitter backgrounds. As a matter of fact, we'll make one. So we'll do the exact same thing. I think this one's a bit bigger. So this is 6 inches. So in order to cut it in half, we have to cut it in half by 3, which may be too big for our project. But we can trim it down. actually, we'll get multiple tags out of this one. So if we cut it by 2 1/4, yeah, that's cute. All right, let's do that. 2 1/4. So similar idea here, but just they're going to be smaller. So we're going to, where's my scissors? What did I do? We're going to cut off the edges as we had done previously. We'll make these ones a little bit smaller. Flip it on top of each other, and then we've created ourselves a little guide for which we can trim off the tops of our tags. Now we have these super duper cute little ones. Oh my gosh, those are gorgeous. Okay, so for this particular background, I used watercolor paper. So that's why this sheet was a little bit bigger. So we'll do the same thing, flip them over, cut off our corners, and now we have 4 little gorgeous tags out of 1 sheet of cardstock, or 1 inked panel, I should say rather. So I'm going to line these up. I'm going to punch a hole with my crocodile. There we go. Wow, these are really pretty. Okay, so for these ones, because the sentiments are a little bit larger, I'll probably cut them. So let's cut Happy Holidays, because this could be like a Hanukkah tag, actually. I don't have one that says Happy Hanukkah, but it could say Happy Holidays. How's that? Oh wow, that's so pretty. Okay, how about Wishing You Joy? These are super cute. I really like this design. Yes, gorgeous. Okay, one more, Winter Wishes. All these little extra pieces that we're clipping off can be used as dimension. You can use those, I cut that a bit too short. You can use those as foam squares as we discussed earlier, or you can throw them away. I am guilty of saving every little piece of paper, thinking that one of these days I'll use them, and then I don't, and then I end up with these massive piles of scraps. It's a sad story. Anyways, let's move along, because this is supposed to be a happy time, because I'm finally getting to record a video that I'll be able to upload to YouTube. Fingers crossed. Oh my gosh. Beautiful. There we go. All right, so let's adhere these to my, I'm actually going to use liquid glue because this glitter has some dimension to it. So I want to make sure that it gets right in there and sticks. So, happy holidays. Are you excited for Christmas? This year, Christmas is going to be different, I feel like. Obviously, everything for this year is different. It's the year of change. And although many people don't like change, I don't know what's going on. This doesn't want to stay still. What was I saying? There. Stay. It's the year of change, and although many people don't like change, we don't have much of a choice this year. We just have to roll with it. And unfortunately, a lot of people won't get to spend the holidays with their families, and so I think this is the perfect time to pull out your card making supplies and send people that you love, even people that you don't love, people that you like, people that you dislike. Just be that person. Send everybody a Christmas card, or just a hello, or you know, whatever. Send them something. Send away your handmade cards. Don't hoard them, because the purpose of making them is to make you happy. I mean, for me, that's what it is. The purpose of making my handmade cards makes me happy, and if that, you know, if I can spread that to somebody else, what a lovely time that is. Anyways, sometimes I get going and I start talking, I don't know what I'm saying, so I have no idea what I've said so far until I check back on the recorded feed and see if it's suitable for YouTube. So this took a whole other spin. I wasn't intending on making all these. I was only intending on making these 2 tags, which turned out absolutely gorgeous. I love them. But these all need to sort of get glued. It took more effort than I was planning, but they are really, really pretty. Okay, I will set those aside to adhere, and I'll clean up. And when you're doing a YouTube video, this is how you clean up. This is how you do it. Oh wow, look at that clean work surface. My craft room, from the looks of this video, is clean. But if you were to spin around the camera, which I won't because that's just shameful, I'm in a war zone over here. Okay, so here's my tags. I bought some brads recently. I'm not sure why. Not brads, sorry, eyelets. Because I knew I'd be making a lot of tags for Christmas this year. So I have a few. I think we'll go with these ones. So I've got these. I just picked these up from Michael's. Just these random eyelets. Eyelets. What are they? I don't know. I think they're tag reinforcers. Whatever. I keep calling them something different. You know what these are. If you know what these are, you know what I'm talking about. So I'm going to pop those into the hole of my tag, and I'm going to use my crocodile. I never know, actually, to be honest, which way is which on this. I think the rounded part goes on the bottom. If you know, please let me know. Leave it in the comments down below. I think I do this right. So I'm going to pinch my little thingy, and there we go. So I don't know if I did that right. It feels like it's not gonna hurt someone. I don't like that. Did I do this wrong? Because it feels like sharp metal back there. Like, is that supposed to happen? I don't like that. Please let me know if I did this wrong. Well, I guess if you really flatten it out. Still though, like, I don't know if that's supposed to do that. I don't know if you could even see that. Anyways, okay. Well, if somebody slits their fingers, then they'll sure have a memorable Christmas. I'm just kidding. I'll probably add some adhesive over the back just to make sure it doesn't hurt anyone. Or even like some glossy accents or something. I think that would work really good. Ooh, I did that one right. Oh, yeah. See, obviously I was doing something wrong. Look how perfect that one went. And then this is like my serial killer tag. That's not safe. It's too late now. I'll give that to someone I don't like. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, let's see if these dried. Yeah, we're good. All right, so let's take our eyelet, pop it through the hole, and I hope I'm doing this right. I don't know what I did so different this time. Oh, I think because I spin that thing around. Yeah, see, that's right. Holy, you need muscle for these. Obviously, I haven't used these very much before. I think these just really create a finished look, a more professional feel to them, these little thingies. And then it's also reinforced too, right? Like, so you don't have to worry about your string ripping through the top of your tag. Now for these particular tags, I won't put to and from on them or anything like that, so that the recipient, what happened? Oops, there we go. So that the recipient could take the tag and reuse it. So that's what I'm going to do. All right, so here's now we're up to 6 beautiful Christmas tags. Oh man, these are gorgeous. I have some cording. This is a stretchy silver cording that I'll use for my tag. So I'll take my cording and I'll cut off a piece And if I could pick it up, there we go. I'll cut off a piece and then I'll fold it in half so I end up with 4 sort of strands. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is the coolest trick in the world. If you've ever tried to feed these things through, that's miserable time. If you take your reverse tweezers, stick it through the hole, and then sort of open it and clamp onto your string, you could pull it through with ease. How amazing is that? And then open up the little loops, slide the tails through. Oh, come on. There we go. And then just to reinforce it, I'll tie a knot anyways. And just slide that right down too. There we go. And then I will clip the top of my tags. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Now you can use this and you can tie it to your gifts, or you can tie a bow. That's nice too. Look at that. Oh my gosh, that's so pretty. Okay, there you have it. 4 beautiful Christmas tags, 1 stencil, 18 videos, 170 hours, and now we're ready for Christmas. Okay, so that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend it here with me. I appreciate the support and your patience with my lack of YouTube content. I'm doing my best. I'll try to get content up for you as fast as I can, because I really miss you guys. I miss your comments. I miss the views. I miss just seeing everyone so, happy in the community environment. And anyways, coming up on screen are a few videos I think you may enjoy. Thanks again for joining me here today. Have yourself a lovely day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!